And the amount of suffering and evil in the world is proof that there is no God. That there is no God. Why would he say that? Why would he or she say that?
Because they're thinking about it on a human level.
Well, of course, that's all they know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all they know. Until we receive Jesus Christ, that's all we knew. Why would he say that? Because this is a contradiction. This is a contradiction. And there's a law of non-contradiction, which states A cannot be B at the same time and in the same sense. You can't be two different things. A book can't be a rock. A book is either a book or it ain't. Okay? This is a contradiction. All loving, all powerful in the presence of evil and suffering is a contradiction. They can't exist at the same time, in the same place, in the same sense. Doesn't make sense. So they use that as proof that there can't be a God. At least not the kind of God we believe in. It can't be because of this. Does that make sense? Do you see where they arrive at that conclusion? Now there may be something, they may grant us that. There may be some divine or all-powerful intelligence, but it ain't the God we believe in. It can't be. Okay, I don't want to flog that, but I want to make sure that we have this, the context.
On Fox News this morning, they gave the statistic 3% of the Americans are atheists.
Yeah.
And 93% believe in a God.
A God.
A God.
Yeah.
And everybody has.
Which means what?
Right.
You know, I mean, and that's good. That may mean some moral sense, but it may mean heaven only knows what. And there's only one God that's going to make a difference because there's only one God. But, you know,
Yeah, statistics. I know in Japan, 100% believe in gods.
yeah. And then maybe their grandparents or whatever the case may be.
One time I had somebody, not just saying, talking about homosexuality, and they said, how can that be bad? And I said, well, and this is what I always
That's
think.
next week, by the way.
Okay, well this is what I always think and this is what I always do. I draw a cross in my mind, and here is light, dark, good, evil, Jesus, God, Satan, and everything must fall here or must fall
That's right.
here.
But here's the point, and you're absolutely right. But you know why you know that?
Because of the Bible.
Because you're a Christian.
Yeah.
And the Bible exists for everybody. And the world's full of people that don't believe in it. Because until you become indwelled by the Holy Spirit, nothing in here makes sense to you. It's all fairy tales. It's Grimm's Brothers. That's all it is. But here's the issue, and Luke may have run into some of this. Truth today, and we're going to go down a little rabbit trail here, and I won't let that happen for just a minute. Truth is blank. Fill it in.
Doesn't exist anymore.
What's the
Exactly
word?
what I just wrote is that everybody, like, I was trying to make notes and stuff about stuff that pops in my mind, and everybody like wants to believe in something, no matter what. I mean, it could even if they have like a slight belief. You know what I mean, like
Sure.
maybe, like slight background information or something. Even if they don't really know, like they don't even have to really know about it. They just want to
Here's
believe in something.
exactly. Here's the point. Everyone is searching. And we have to be able to answer questions. One of the biggest reasons we lose our kids when they go off to college is the people in church can't answer their questions. Nobody has a rational response to their questions. That's what we're about here. That's what we're trying to do. Okay? But truth is relative. What's good for me may not be good for you. What I believe, you don't have to believe. La-di-da-di-da. We tiptoe through the tulips, right? That doesn't seem bad on the surface, does it? You don't have to do what I do. You don't have to think what I think. Here's the problem with that. We talked about this when we were going through our evolution creation. Is that idea creates chaos. it creates a situation where morality is whatever I can convince the most people that it is.
2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4 anymore.
No, but it does. And the fact that we have let that become skewed is our fault. Because we haven't manned the ramparts, we haven't manned the battlements, and we haven't had the answers to the questions. Or if we did, stood up and refuted what people were saying because we didn't want to look like idiots in front of smart people. Let me tell you something. Academia is full of the dumbest people I've ever met. They got it all wrong. Think about that. The very premise of everything they do as professors is wrong. And we don't want to stand up and defend ourselves against these people. All we have to know are some basic things that they can't answer. And they know they can't answer. They'll do the same thing we do. Well, some things you have to take on faith. They just do it from their angle, that's all. They're saying the same things. Well, you're just stupid if you don't believe this. Everyone believes
Why are you
it.
looking at me?
Because you brought it up.
Common sense.
I mean,
the deal.
it's-
Common sense.
So anyway, that's what happens with this. But we'll go back here for a moment. So this is the way they view it. And they're right. From a rational standpoint, this can't exist with this. Or can it? Are they right? Okay, so the atheist makes two assumptions. If God is all-powerful, then he can create any world he chooses. And if God is all good, then he would prefer a world without evil over a world with evil. Those two assumptions make sense, don't they? Or do they? This is our little crime scene. Or do they make sense? They sound rational, don't they? God is all-powerful. That means he can make, and this is where some people start getting their eyebrows up. If God is all-powerful, he can make any world he chooses, right? And he would prefer good over evil, right? Okay. Let's look at that first assumption. Can God create any world he chooses? The first response is,
Yes.
God can do anything. We talked about that last week. Can God make a square circle? Can God make a square circle? No! How does God make a square circle? There's no such thing. It's a logical impossibility. God, I didn't mean to jump down your throat. If it came off that. If it came off that. God taught us, we are created in God's image. Now granted, we're as much an image of God as our shadow is an image of us. Okay, there's quantum distance between us and God. But he taught us to think and to be rational. He taught us to be logical. We didn't come up with that on our own. That was planted here. That's why we have a brain. Not just to send electrical signals to our body, but to think. To be rational. We don't believe, generally, we don't believe absurdities. Okay? God cannot be irrational. Now, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. And if anybody wants to bring this up, we'll talk about it some more. God is unable to do evil. I know people's eyebrows went up, a couple of people, when I said that. God's all-powerful. Sure, he can do evil. Wait a minute. What are you saying? A holy God can do evil? Holiness and evil, is that not a contradiction? God cannot be irrational. God cannot be illogical. God cannot do what is out of his character. He cannot be holy and capable of evil at the same time. That means in our minds, if he could, that means in our minds that God's sitting there going, I wonder if I really want to spring some evil on